picture me and Danny Mills. I went to smash him, missed everything. It was nailed, and he grabbed me by the throat. But the game was, it was nothing in it. It was just dull. There was no atmosphere, and that was about the 20-something minutes. And I remember something needs to happen here. So in my head, I thought, right, I'm just going to go and smash everything. I don't care if I get a yellow card. If I get a red, I'm just going to smash everything. Missed everything. And, you know, like Danny grabbed me by the scruff of the neck. That moment, the crowd lifted. We got a quick free kick. About 5 minutes later, I put it down. We scored. Then I whipped one in the top corner. So, you know, my influence, my effect on the Blues in that period, I believe, was instrumental. And, you know, I always laugh and joke. And, you know, Mr. Gould and Mr. Sullivan were great with me. And I always said to Mr. Sullivan in the Player of the Year dues when I won most of them, you know, I must be your favourite. I must be your favourite ever Blues player. I think I was close behind. I think Trevor Francis, and I think it was me. So, you know, it was a great time for me, a great time, and I do regret it. I do regret it because
we're over that now.
A wonderful time. I do. I'm honest.
Yeah, we're over it.
I could really say I'm not bothered, but it does really, you know, now say to my boys, you know, let's go and watch Birmingham in a big game, you know, and go on the pitch at half time. And not because I want people to applaud me, but just to say sorry and say, listen, I made a mistake. Everybody made a mistake.
You've done it. You've done it.
That time, I give every game, I give absolutely everything. There was one game with, I think it was, have I said it? Was it for Leicester, Birmingham, Newcastle away? I think it was Leicester when was it Leicester? I can't remember when I wasn't at full tilt. But every other game, I give everything I got.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned Paul Devlin earlier. Paul Devlin's asked me to ask you. Well, Paul Devlin's basically said, ask Sab about when I used to get him in the death choke when we used to room together on away trips. He'd always want to wrestle most of the time, and most of the time he'd be naked. He'd always end him choking him out.
But my roommate, great. Listen, you know, one of the reasons, you know, that squad was so good. You know, when household names, you know, like in that first game against Villa, they were household names. We went, you know, you look at Sheffield United now in the Premier League. They're very similar to us. You know, work their way through divisions, not household names, but become stars because of what their attitude, their application, their character, their desire. And our Birmingham team was like that. You know, Dev, you know, the Horse, Benno in goal, you know, Damien Johnson, Percy, Brian Hughes, and I could then we signed Clinton. But Dev was my roomie, and you know, great character. You know, underrated. You know, great on the right hand side. But yeah, we used to wrestle every Friday night. But because Dev was stronger than me, not now, but because he was stronger than me, he used to let. The rule was that after dinner, he would let me have the first 10 seconds to get him in a hole, but he'd always get out. But honestly, some Friday nights before a game, we'd be wrestling for about an hour. We would be dripping in sweat, you know, curtains hanging over the wall, beds everywhere, cuts and bruises. From Friday nights, me and Dev wrestling. But true story.